Hello, and welcome to just a random match on Titanfall that I decided to record, and I didn't do awesome in it. You're about to see me get wiped twice in a row by, I'm pretty sure, the same player. Pretty embarrassing, but from there on I start to do a little bit better and actually contribute to the team. But yeah, this was a okay match. I really don't like this map, but, you know, I can't do anything about it, and I jumped in right after the start of the game, so I didn't get to do the really cool and fun jumping out of the dropship thing. But anyway, this is Titanfall on PC, and I'm playing with the Xbox 360 controller, and this is one of the games on PC that has native controller support, which is both good and bad. It's more good than bad, honestly, because when a game doesn't have native controller support, it really kills the experience in a lot of ways. So it's really nice that this is one of the games that does, and I really do enjoy it as a PC game, and as, you know, trying to be a pretty competitive player playing against keyboard and mouse players. And that's actually what I wanted to talk about in this video. I decided I should do a gameplay along with it, instead of just ranting on with nothing pretty to look at. Even though nothing really beautiful happens in this match, but it's, you know, still a pretty good match. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about was in reference to, you know, gaming on PC with a controller, which, if you've watched my previous videos, you know that I do that. I also do console gaming, and honestly, I was a lot more competitive in console gaming than I am on PC, because if you grab a controller to play a PC game and you're playing Battlefield or Call of Duty or something, you better not be in the state of mind that you're going to win, you're going to get those high KDs just like you did on Xbox or PS3 or whatever you were playing, because that's not going to happen. You know, you just have to face the fact that people who have been playing for years with a mouse are going to have better aim and accuracy than any player using a controller. And that's not because they're any better than you, it's just the controllers and the mouse and keyboard combo, they each have their own strengths and weaknesses, and this is something that nobody really talks about. People usually just get really defensive or fanboyish, and they're like, oh, you're saying controller sucks, well, keyboard and mouse sucks, and blah blah blah. Well, the fact is that both methods have their own pros and cons, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit, and I'm also going to talk about why I think, honestly, that for most scenarios on Titanfall, you're better off using a controller over the keyboard and mouse. I honestly think that, because you'll see in this match I do okay. I don't really do really good until I get my Titan towards the end of the match, I think, but I do okay. And you won't really see it so much in this match, but that's because of the strengths and weaknesses of, you know, keyboard and mouse versus a controller. So to start with, I'm going to talk about the strengths of a controller, because I know more about the strengths of a controller, because I've played console my whole life until, you know, this recent year I just started into PC gaming. Anyway, the strengths of a controller are, and the biggest one is you have all of your actions in the palm of your hand, and hitting any or doing any action that is programmed in the game is literally within the reach of your thumbs and maybe two of your fingers. This is really helpful because this allows you to have a really quick reaction time for anything you need to do. And usually keyboard bindings are bound so that anything you would really need to do really quickly are all pretty close to WASD, which are typically movement keys. But, you know, sometimes there's just so many keys that you can't possibly you know, fit everything that's really important really close together and within reach. And that really affects a lot of people. It doesn't bother me a whole lot. I do find myself tapping the wrong key when I try to play some games with the keyboard mouse combo. But, you know, some people can cope with it, some people can't. I do better with a controller, personally. One of the reasons that this simply is a big problem with keyboard and mouse is because no games seem to take advantage of the fact that they can do button holds, which is what console does to compensate for the lack of keys and buttons. Console games have a lot of holding of buttons, like, you know, hold X to enter vehicle, hold B to interact, hold whatever. There's a lot of hold buttons if, you know, there's a lot you need to do. And if it's something to interact with the environment, a lot of the time they can just bind all of those interactions on one key, and it only pops up per instance, and that works out really well. Now, you never see that in PC games for the keyboard and mouse. Now, when a game has native controller support, you'll see it for the controller, but you never see that kind of innovation for keyboard and mouse, and it's really a shame, because that could make a lot of keyboard and mouse games, you know, a little more user-friendly, because it's a lot easier for a player to remember, oh, I can hold the R button to enter a vehicle, as opposed to, oh, I can reach over and hit E or F to get into the vehicle. Like, you know, it's a matter of conserving button mapping, and keyboard and mouse really doesn't do that. So that's one thing, one major advantage that controller has over keyboard and mouse. And a lot of the time that's you know, per player. Some players it doesn't faze them, some players it does. It really depends on what you're used to. The other thing, and this is the second advantage, and probably the last one I'm going to be able to think of for keyboard and mouse, but the other thing is that keyboard and mouse, or I'm sorry, controller players have literally 360 degrees of movement, and sensitive movement at that. With a keyboard and mouse you have 8. That is the 4 cardinal directions, WASD, north, south, east, west, up, down, left, right, whatever you want to call it. You have the 4 basic directions, and then their diagonals. Now, that's usually not a big problem for most games, but I know personally when I play keyboard and mouse games, I feel a little stiff trying to move around, and that kind of thing really comes into play in a game like Titanfall. If your movement feels stiff, you're not going to be able to do these acrobatic moves very well. I mean, yeah, you can do them, but they're not going to be as crisp and feel as good and more satisfying to do like it is with a controller. Now, I don't know this for fact. I have not played Titanfall with a keyboard and mouse, and I probably never will. But just the thought, because I have played other games with a keyboard and mouse, or I have emulated games with X-Patter, so I know what it feels like to only have those 8 degrees of movement, and it sucks. It really sucks when you come from console and you have 360 degrees, or, you know, 360, yeah, degrees of movement. You know, you can move in any direction that your thumbstick goes, so it just feels a lot more crisp, and, you know, you have the tilt to walk and slam to run, or whatever you want to call that. The sensitivity allows you to move at different speeds, and that is something that just makes console games and native controller support PC games feel really good to move around on, run around on. Titanfall in particular is a really good example. And then, of course, the advantage that keyboard and mouse gamers have over the controller users is that mouse and that aim and that incredible and sometimes really ridiculous accuracy. I'm not gonna lie, I get pretty frustrated when I try to play like Battlefield 3, not so much Battlefield 3, but definitely Battlefield 4 with keyboard and mouse users, because you just can't match their accuracy, especially if they're a long time FPS PC gamer. They're gonna have that twitch wrist on you and 360 headshot you like it's nothing, almost consecutively. Like, you know, that's just something that you have to face, but that's just one of the advantages that keyboard and mouse users have over controller users, and I've already pointed out 2 advantages that controller users have. So really, it comes down to, if you're playing PC games, you have the choice, sometimes, depends on the game. You have the choice, and you have to decide which is more important to you, or if you're a long time controller user, if you're willing to jump to keyboard and mouse for the advantages, and vice versa. So it really comes down to those few things. What's more important to you? What are you willing to sacrifice for the advantage? But all in all, you know, usually in games like Battlefield, probably Call of Duty. I haven't played Call of Duty on PC, but it's a little more fast-paced than Battlefield. But I know in Battlefield, mouse users have a great advantage because Battlefield's a pretty slow-paced game most of the time, and you're not usually running and gunning. You're typically, going prone or sneaking up or long-shotting or whatever, taking people out. But Titanfall is an amazing and rare game on PC where the advantage, there might not even be a real advantage. It's kind of per situation, but controller users are almost on the same playing field as keyboard and mouse users, or it might be the same. It might be fair play here because this game involves a lot of acrobatics. And I can tell you from experience and from playing Titanfall quite a bit, I haven't, super hardcore played it nowhere near as much as Modern Warfare 2 on Xbox. That game was my jam. I loved that game. But I have played this a lot, and I do love this game, especially for a PC game. And really, I notice, of course you can't tell who's using keyboard and mouse and who's using a controller, but I assume that at least the majority of players are keyboard mouse. And when you pull some acrobatic moves, these guys just don't know what to do because either they're really used to these more stationary games, or they're, I don't know, they just have so many keys and they just kind of spaz out and freeze up, and you get them and you pull out some acrobatic moves tied in with gunplay, and you're going to have the advantage. Now, I didn't get to show any examples of that, unfortunately. I really didn't like this map. The match was okay. I was getting, wrecked in the beginning, but I really don't like that map. It's way too open. Can't really pilot versus pilot fight in it. But, did okay. We won the match. We pulled it out. We were losing at first, and I went positive. And I was watching this. This is a post-commentary, by the way. And the video just cut out, so I'm probably going to paste a picture so I can keep rambling just because I like to ramble. So if you enjoyed me rambling about this, hats off to you, because I don't know if anybody will. But yeah, it's just Titanfall is one of those really rare games where a controller user can jump into a PC community and actually be a competitive player and do well if he has the skill. And I'm not bragging on myself or anything, but I came from Call of Duty on the Xbox 360, and I was a pretty decent player. I think on Black Ops 2 I was pushing out a 2-point-something KD for a long time. It might have dropped recently because, I got out of console gaming and I jumped back in. But I pretty consistently do well on Titanfall on PC, and that's, it's really crazy. And a lot of people, I read, or I watched a video a guy had posted like a year ago about the Titanfall beta, and he was talking about liking the controller and preferring the PC beta over Xbox One beta or something. I can't remember exactly what he said. And I saw these other people saying you're bad, keyboard mouse is always going to be better. But that is not the case with Titanfall. Drop your keyboard and mouse pride and, stop the elitism and your fanboyishness or whatever. Titanfall is one game on PC, and there might be others, but Titanfall is the one that I've played where I honestly feel on equal ground with keyboard and mouse players most of the time. Now, there are those rare instances where it comes down to an accuracy battle, and of course I'm not going to have that pinpoint accuracy that a keyboard and mouse user is having, but usually I pull out matches where I do pretty positive, either at the top of my team or second like I was in that match, but still I think I had 10 pilot kills, 2 deaths that were right in the beginning because of my stupidity. I think a lot of those kills were Titan kills, but a kill's a kill. And I'm really good at staying alive on Titanfall, as you could see. I played it a lot more sneaky on that match than I usually do, just because it was so wide open. I really don't like that map. I've not played it very much, and I don't like it. Especially with all the turrets and everything, I had to keep hacking, which I just recently realized how to do that. But, yeah, just if you're a PC gamer struggling to get by and be competitive with a controller, I definitely recommend you play Titanfall, especially if you like Call of Duty games, Titanfall is very Call of Duty-esque, and except, honestly, I've enjoyed Titanfall probably more than any Call of Duty game. And that's not just because of the mechs. I mean, the mechs are really cool and all, but it's just something about the gameplay. It's really fresh, it's really, you know, fun, and the minions really make it interesting. You saw me slaughtering a lot of minions. I think I killed 19. I'm saying all this from memory. You're probably going to rewind and see all these numbers are wrong. But, whew, I have talked my throat dry. But yeah, definitely, if you want to try to be a competitive PC gamer with a controller, at least in a single game, and you were even slightly good at Call of Duty, I do recommend you get into Titanfall, because it is Call of Duty with mechs and minions, you know, NPC minions. Those guys are awesome, and they're only in the attrition game mode, but they make the gameplay just way more interesting, a lot more actiony. And that's probably one of the main reasons that I love Titanfall so much, and I have gone back and reinstalled it multiple times so I could just play like a week's worth of matches or something. You know, with my restricted hard drive space, jumping from game to game is pretty hard, and I have reinstalled Titanfall multiple times to play, and I always have fun. And with a controller in a world of keyboard and mouse users. So yes, please give it a try if you have not yet. It was on sale at one point. I think it went on sale right after I bought it, sadly. But if you can, give it a try, because it is a great game to play as a controller user. And hopefully there will be a Titanfall 2 or something, because I'm really loving it. Would love to play more of it. Titanfall 1 is kind of empty in terms of content. You know, not a lot of maps, not a lot of guns or anything. I think there's a single shotgun. That was the one I was using. I don't usually use shotguns, but I was giving it a try. And yeah, you know, I love Titanfall. I love it, and I'm sure that you would like it too, and you should definitely give it a try. And if you need somebody to play with, hit me up, because I play Titanfall alone all the time. I don't even use my microphone because nobody uses mics in, you know, a lot of PC games. So feel free to drop a comment or send me a message if you want to play, because I need people to play with. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Sorry for rambling past the length of the video. Hopefully I'll come up with a good picture for you guys to look at. And if you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up button underneath and leave a comment telling me what you think about controller use in PC gaming. And I don't mind if your opinion opposes mine. And if you're a keyboard and mouse elitist, you've heard what I think about it. Feel free to tell me what you think. And yeah, I'll probably put out some more Titanfall videos. Hopefully some where I do like really kick-ass stuff or something. That'd be really nice. And thanks for watching, and you know, just keep gaming. Game on, my friends.